It's that time of year where everybody starts dropping their top blankety blanks of the year blankety blank. So without further ado, let's get into the best, the worst, and another special list that I have for you guys at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around. Let's start with the worst so I can get pissed, so I can cool off by the end of this video, right? Let's start with number 5. Star Wars The Acolyte. That should be it. I should move on to number 4. You know why? We all know why. The Star Wars series is very inconsistent, hit and miss, right? When you don't hear mess online, it usually means it's a good one. There's a series that's out right now that I'm not hearing anything about, which tells me it's a good thing. But when something sucks, the internet is loud. And boy, was it loud for The Acolyte. It was loud before a single episode came out. I remember people were dogging the actors when they were coming on their bullshit pressers, not even knowing what the hell the franchise means to people, just sitting there bullshitting. And then the product sucks. And then the aftermath of that is the actors still not understanding what this franchise means to people. I feel like Disney doesn't understand what this franchise means to people. And I'm not even a Star Wars fan. I'm just a spectator, all right? I just like to watch shit. And this was not fun to watch. It was really boring. It really feels super agenda-y. And I'm not usually one of those YouTubers that comes on here and is like, oh, woke this and blah, 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 and women, blah, 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 blah. But The Acolyte was the reason why people was doing that. Because they are pushing stupid agendas and they're making shit up. They're with the lore of Star Wars. You don't do that. That's a big no-no. And my motto, if you're new here, is do cool shit. So if you're going to destroy 40 years, how old is Star Wars? 50 years old? 50 years old. If you're going to destroy 50-year-old lore, at least do cool shit. They just destroyed lore for a boring product. What was the point then? Best part of that show was Squid Game. Shout outs to Squid Game. There's a reason why there was no season 2. So yeah, Acolyte, number 5. Number 4, I'm kind of cheating in my list. Okay, I'm RuPaul. I am Dumbledore. I make shit up as I go. Number 4 is kind of 2 movies from the same universe. It's because I didn't want to give each of them a spot. They suck so bad they only deserve 1 spot, and that is Madam Web and Kraven, because I was trying to figure out which one had more suckitude, and they both kind of suck the same amount, just for different reasons. So I couldn't decide which one I hated the most. Madam Web is just boring. This whole universe was the point to like build up the Sinister Six to fight, you know, Spidey over there. So when you pick Madam Web, a character who hasn't had a lot of shine, you would think, oh, okay, kind of cool. Let's see what we do with this. And they just completely fumbled the bag. It's more like, remember Spider-Man? Yeah, well, these are Spider-Man things, and not quite Spider-Man, but Spider-Man. You like Spider-Man? Is his mom right here. You like Spider-Man? Is his uncle right here. But you're not going to see Spider-Man. You're going to see a guy who's technically the first Spider-Man, kind of. In South America, there's a village of Spider-Man. This movie's so bad, not even Sydney Sweeney's titties could save it. You know why? Because they covered her. What are we doing, Spider-Man? And Kraven is just as boring as well. The action is more entertaining, but it's still the same pile of shit. There's a reason why the Sony Marvel universe was kaput, was done for, was dead, it's over. It's a shame because the initial idea of it had potential, you know what I'm saying? Before we saw any movie, if they're like, okay, Sony's going to build up a whole Sinister Six universe to eventually take on Spider-Man, you're like, oh, cool, that sounds cool and interesting and fun. Then you watch the movies and you're like, oh shit. Each movie as it kept going along just kept becoming more of a chore and more of a chore. Cochinero, gross, rest in peace. Madam Web and Kraven, number 4. Let's get to number 3, The Crow. This is a reboot of a franchise that has a ton of potential, and this movie just fumbled any future projects that they could have had in building this world. It's just boring, man. It's just boring. There's one fight scene that is kind of decent that takes place in the theater. Bill Skarsgård is cool, but it's just not entertaining enough. It's super boring. I don't feel the chemistry between the two characters are supposed to be, you know, homeboy's love interest, and it just took too long to develop to a point where I'm just like, is somebody gonna kill this bitch already? Because we need to move along. She needs to die because he's too happy, man. Nothing's going on. And then you fumbled potential scenarios and casting choices, right? Because when he dies, there's this one guy that's kind of explaining to him what the hell's going on, and he's boring as too. I don't understand why they hired a taxi guy from New York to be this guy to explain the thing, you know? In the comics, is a cowboy skeleton. How f***ing dope is that? Why didn't you spend money on the budget and hiring somebody cool? You know, a Sam Elliott, a damn Nicolas Cage, a Idris Elba. I don't know, just spend some more cash on this character and that would have made it worth a little bit more wild, you know? Instead, this movie just decided to be boring. And what did I just say? Do cool shit. The Crow lends itself to be a lot of cool shit. And they just fumbled the bag. So for that reason, The Crow, number 3, you suck. Moving on to number 2, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Now, I don't know how many people are going to have this on their list. And if they do, I don't know how many people are going to have it this high on their list. But I do. And I will. Because I'm low-key still annoyed and pissed about this one. Why? Because the Yakuza gaming series is so wild and crazy. And there's so much rich entertainment everywhere you look. Then you have the show, which is nothing remotely close to that. The Yakuza gaming series is a mafia story revolved around crazy Japanese shit. Just the craziest thing you can imagine. Guys in diapers, wrestlers, whatever you can think of, they've done it, right? To the point where their newest game is a Yakuza member who wants to go to Hawaii to be a pirate. Okay, that's the level of craziness we're talking with their series. And what does this show do? It decides just to use the mafia story. No craziness, no cool shit. It's just boring. So you have me for 7 hours waiting for cool shit to happen and nothing really happens. And it's so high on my list. Why? Because you had the homework right there in the video games. All you had to do was copy it, not take bits and pieces from number 2 and 4 and 5 and 6 and oh, what is that? Oh, okay, let's throw that in the pot and mix it all around and make a cochinero. No, man, no, what are we doing? No, Gaga hated it, pissed me off. I'm so disappointed I even watched the damn thing. Therefore, Yakuza Like a Dragon or Like a Dragon Yakuza, I can't remember how it goes because one is the video game, the other was the show. Number 2. Pissed me off. Now, before we get to the worst thing of 2024, I have a couple honorable mentions. They didn't quite make the list. I know one is definitely going to be in a lot of people's list, and the other, I'm pretty sure people forgot about. And the one people forgot about is Echo. You remember Echo? No, you probably didn't watch it. You forgot about that one, huh? Yeah, so did I. It's just so boring. Shout outs to you for kind of sucking. And the other one, obviously, is going to be in a lot of people's lists. It was just an honorable mention because as a Joker fan, I feel like I don't know what I feel like. I feel like eventually it's going to be good. I don't know. Like nothing about the movie is going to change, but I feel like with time, we're going to look back, I don't know, 5 years from now, and there's going to be a ton of videos saying Joker was actually good. It's disappointing because of what it did with all the music shit. I think if you sit down and analyze it, there might be some shit that you can like justify. I don't know. It's pretty crazy that Gaga thought she was going to win an Oscar for this, and the level of performance that was given is like, no, what? It was just crazy. The cinematography is beautiful, but again, they felt to need to use Gaga because they had Gaga instead of telling an interesting story. I was against the sequel from the beginning. I wish they just left it at the Joker and let our minds run wild, because you're never going to make anything better than the whole internet's mind combined. You're just not going to do it. But that means, number 1, the worst thing of 2024 was, you guessed it, the Borderlands movie. For all the reasons that I put Yakuza in this list, multiply it for Borderlands, because the story of Borderlands is so simple and they managed to f that up. They did the same thing. They grabbed shit from here, grabbed shit from there. Oh, that looks cool. Who's that character? It don't matter what their backstory or their lore is. Just gimme. I'll figure it out. I'm a writer. I know how to do things. I know what I'm doing. No, the f you're not. You made a mess. Okay, these characters are already predetermined. They're not there for you to just show up, grab whatever you think is cool, and then make your story for it. Why? Because there's a whole goddamn series that millions and millions of people have played and know every little minute detail better than you. You don't understand that. Movie studios still don't understand gaming. They don't get it. We're crazy, bruh. Don't fuck with our shit. We're fucking crazy, dog. We know who the fuck these people are. You don't know. I know. The cast is absolutely terrible. They just think that if you throw people together, you got a movie. That's maybe what it was back in the 90s. It's not like that anymore, especially when you're taking video game properties. I'm supposed to just, yay, Kevin Hart is in. Yeah, but he acts nothing like the character. You have jokey Kevin Hart playing the most serious character in the goddamn series, and the rest are a bunch of smoking hot old ladies. What are we doing? Everything was wrong. The amount of guns are wrong. The action was wrong. The music was wrong. Visuals actually not that bad. It could still look the same. But everything about this movie is just wrong. That was, according to me, the worst thing of 2024. Now it's time to clean our palette with the best movies / series, according to me, of 2024. This was harder to figure out. I had a list and I checked it twice, and the list for the best stuff was longer than for the shitty ones, which means a pretty decent year for films, right? We had some pretty good things going around. So I struck a little bit more to narrow this down to 5, as you will tell in my honorable mentions, which I basically rattle off a bunch of shit. But let's get into it. Number 5, The Pinguino. I really enjoyed the Penguin series. It told a very fun mafia story within the Batman universe without using Batman. And it was entertaining the whole time. How the hell you do that? Well, you take Colin Farrell and put him in a fat suit and watch him for a few hours. And you cast other people who know what the hell they're doing to play other parts as well. Actors act. That's their job. So when they have good material to work with, they shine because they're acting and they're doing what was on the page. And if what's on the page is good, then the product is going to be good. And this is a very good example of this. It had you on the edge of your seat. You forget that you're watching a villain to the point where you're rooting for this fool and you're like, wait a minute, he's actually a piece of shit. So you flip flopping and you don't know who to root for anymore because everybody's a villain. They're all bad guys. The only one you're supposed to root for is Batman, and he's not there. And I really enjoyed The Pinguino. I think I heard that there was going to be a season 2, maybe. I'm down, but let's not get too crazy. Let's not, turn season 2 into a musical, if you know what I'm saying. I would like to only see him now in movie form and be like, oh, that's that crazy motherfucker who's hiring hookers to pretend that it's his mama. You know what I'm saying? But if there's a season 2 with a story that makes sense, I'm down. That's why The Pinguino is number 5. Number 4, Shogun. Do you like violence? Do you like feudal Japan? Do you like the guy who plays Scorpion? Do you like a guy who kind of looks like Tom Hardy but not really? Shogun. This is another one which I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. I think this whole show covered the book, but I remember reading that there might be a season 2. But again, okay, this is what always happens, man. We get greedy, right? You took source material, and the source material only allows you to tell this much of the story. You did it. You completed it. Now you got to move out of the box to tell more story, and that's when it starts to suck ass, because you're telling your story now. You're not telling the story you adapted. But so we got to be careful there. But the story that they did tell, Shogun, was interesting. It wasn't like, holy shit, I've never seen this stuff before. But it was done in an entertaining manner. They had you on the edge of your seat every other episode. And it was a fun show. There's a reason why I won a bunch of awards. I think I might have won all the awards. That's why it's number 4 on my list. It should have been higher, honestly. But this next one used nostalgia. Therefore, it got higher on the list. So let's move on to number 3, X-Men 97. I mentioned reboots. I mentioned taking old properties and fucking them up. Well, this one didn't do that. This one did a good job. This one had the internet talking to each other every week, figuring out what's going to happen. Every 30-year-old in the internet felt like a 10-year-old again. Visually, it did a good job in looking modern, yet that same style. And the stories that they told were a little bit more mature, more relationship stuff. It was basically a bunch of love triangles. But again, told in an interesting way. Now, the head writer guy, I think he got fired or something for having an OnlyFans. But this show is so good that the internet went like, come on, it wasn't that bad. He was just on OnlyFans telling people to go watch his shit. Come on, give him another shot. We'll see what happens, because I think they have whatever he wrote for season 2. So they're going to use that, I think. So we might have to consider bringing his ass back for season 3 if that's where we're going to go later on in the story. But yeah, they did a brilliant job bringing a bunch of X-Men characters. They introduced a couple new ones. They were killing off X-Men where you got you going like, what? Rest in peace to my favorite, if you know who that is. Kind of spoiler alert. But it was a fun time, in the internet. Everybody loved it, I feel like. That's why X-Men 97 is number 3. Moving on to number 2, Furiosa. This, on paper, done by anybody else with another IP, a spin-off of a series that's been around since the 70s, doesn't sound like a good idea. But if it's George Miller and if it's Mad Max, then I'm down. I don't understand why this movie made no lana. It made no dinero. I don't understand why. People didn't go see this movie for some reason. I don't know why. Is it because it's like a female lead? Did they not know that this was Furiosa or something? Were they confused? Were they like, so it's Furiosa, but it's not Charlize no more? It's now Anya Taylor-Joy, but like, where did my Max? Were you confused, people? Did you not go see the movie because you don't understand? Fine, you don't have to be embarrassed. But now that it's on most platforms, go watch it. It's fucking fantastic. It's a crazy, wild ride. Visually, storytelling, I liked it. The action, the lore, Everything about it, everything that makes a movie, this movie does 10 times better than any other movie this year. Yeah, this is my favorite movie of the year. Number one's a spoiler alert, number one's a series. Got me excited for the third movie, which almost got canceled because this movie didn't do as well as they were hoping, which is kind of scary. As wild that a movie can be so great yet not make any money. I really don't understand why this movie didn't make no money. So let me know in the comments if you have the answer for that. I saw this bitch on IMAX. Maybe that's why I'm so pumped about it, because it was like the whole time. It's just it's just cars everywhere, and then visually you're like, fuck, it's so bright. That's Furiosa in 20 seconds, right? That's why it's number 2 on the best of 2024. Now, before we get to numero uno, I had to drop some honorable mentions. This one, on a lot of people's lists, but I enjoyed it, right? I liked it, but it's so long that I don't think I would see it over any other else that I mentioned, right? Even the series. I think I'd rather rewatch the series than this, and that is Dune Dos. It's beautiful. I also watched it in IMAX. It's gorgeous. Bellissimo. Beautiful. But it's number 6 on my list. It's a little bit too long. I guess it has fun parts, but a lot of the movie is heavy. I liked it. I enjoy it very much. I can't wait for number 3. Same goes for the last season of The Boys. The Boys at this point is just like Jordan, right? People are just tired that Jordan won MVP all the time. So they're just, let's just give it to somebody else. And I kind of did the same thing here. The Boys is the shit, and it's always going to be the shit until the very last season. And that last season is going to get recognition. Anthony Starr should win something. I can't believe he's never won an Emmy for that character. He should. Also, an honorable mention, Fallout. I liked it. I wasn't expecting much from it, and it beat everybody's expectations. But because everybody had so low expectations going in, and with it being pretty good, people consider it to be great because you're expecting a dumpster fire, kind of like Halo, and it wasn't. And they did a good job. I can't wait for season 3, but it's an honorable mention. Shout outs to Fallout, as well as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I enjoyed that movie very much. That movie, I really wanted to put on this list, but I didn't like it more than all these other things. But this got me hyped for this next new trilogy that's coming out. So shout outs to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Beetlejuice 2 was also very fun. Shout outs to that. A 20-plus-year-old reboot that managed not to be boring and entertaining. Same goes for The Gladiator. The Gladiator, I didn't expect The Gladiator to be so polarizing. I feel like people either love it or hate it, and I'm on the love side. A lot of people do not like this movie. They call it bullshit. It's just the same shit. Well, yeah. Well, it's The Gladiator. It's the same. What were you expecting? It's great. Visually, it's great. It's fun. The storytelling, whatever. And finally, I want to give a huge shout out to Hellboy, the Crooked Man. I think the same thing as Fallout, like the most improved, the best shocker, right? When this trailer came out, nobody expected this movie to be decent. And the movie is actually pretty good. And I wouldn't mind a sequel in that same world. Another adventure, find another monster, deal with another case. It screams straight to video on demand, straight to DVD, but it was a fun movie that we enjoyed. So shout outs to Hellboy, the Crooked Man as well. The final honorable mention is Nosferatu, even though I haven't seen it. Again, my rules. I'm RuPaul. I'm Dumbledore. Fuck you. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. If you saw it, let me know how it is down in the comments. If I have some pulverizing thoughts about it, make sure to follow this channel on TikTok, where I'm probably gonna vent about it real quick. Which brings us to numero uno, bruh. Netflix Arcane. Visually beautiful. Every frame of this show, you can frame it on your wall. It's a bunch of lesbians and ladies just kicking ass. Might have been just 1 or 2 lesbians. I'm just being extra. But it's a bunch of ladies just whooping all kind of ass. I'm not a League of Legends fan, but according to them, they did a good job with the lore, so that's extra points. So the fights are amazing. The music paired with the fights, it's just bellissimo. I really enjoyed the finale of Arcane. So that was the best and worst movies / series of 2024. And I told you guys I had a special little list at the end, which these are looking forward to 2025. These are, I think it's 8. I was going to do 5, but I kept coming up with more. Top 8 most anticipated shows and movies of 2025. Let's get into it really quick. Of course, number 8, Castlevania Nocturne. Season 1 was amazing. I can only expect season 2 to be that great. The whole series of Castlevania has been great. Nocturne was good. I have high expectations for that. I have to have high expectations for number 7, which is the Devil May Cry series that's being made and produced by the same people. It seems like a perfect pairing. It seems like it should be good. Hopefully it's not just too good to be true. It sounds like a perfect pairing. It sounds like we have something. You know, it's not like Castlevania, because Castlevania spans through decades and centuries, right? There is the same lineage, but there's a whole bunch of different stories told. Devil May Cry, It's basically, except for the one game, it's basically the same story told, right? There's lore, so you really can't treat it the same. So I'm a little nervous to see what happens with that, but that's number 7. Moving on to number 6, most anticipated for 2025. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Just copy paste everything I said about X-Men 97. It's made by the same people. This art style, I'm not a huge fan of. It's kind of giving me like afternoon KPBS vibes. It also reminded me of Hi-Fi Rush, which I love Hi-Fi Rush. I saw an extended trailer and I wasn't too hyped on how Peter was acting, but it's been a minute since we had an animated Spider-Man show. If this does just as good as X-Men 97, I mean, I put it on my best, on my best list. So yeah, I hope it's that good. Keeping it with the Disney Marvel, I got the Daredevil Born Again. I'm very curious to see how they're going to treat that character. Are they going to keep him rated R Netflix? I think they said that was going to keep it rated R. But the little bit we saw him in She-Hulk, he had already been, Disney Marvel-fied. He was already cracking jokes and acting completely different from the Netflix show. So I am very, very curious to see how they're going to take this character and tell interesting stories with him. We know that the Punisher is going to be in there. I'm high alert to see what they do with Daredevil. Because what I really want is that for the end of that series to lead into something Midnight Suns. Just get on with the Midnight Suns already, okay? What you're building right now with the Avengers kind of sucks. So give us something else building on this other side that could be very, very cool, dark, and mysterious with the Midnight Suns. Number 4, I got the very last Mission Impossible ever. Maybe not ever, but the one featuring Tom on this. He just decides to keep going forever. Reckoning Part 2, Day Reckoning, something Reckoning. Mission Impossible Reckoning, something Reckoning. Tom's getting old, man. But from the trailer, he's still doing Tom. He's still running 20 miles an hour a bunch of times. He's still doing crazy stunts. I'm curious if they're going to go the Mission Impossible route, giving him the treatment, Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just very curious to see what they're going to do with that character. Number 3, I have Eyes of Wakanda. I love anything Wakanda. I enjoyed the second movie, and I think this is going to cover some Wakandan warriors, and I think this might even be animated. So their animated stuff has been very good lately. Hopefully this hints also as to what the Wakanda world, what the Black Panther world, where are we going with that? Denzel joining Black Panther 3 maybe as a villain. The second movie definitely felt like I had to take a sharp left turn and reset and figure out what they're doing, why they're doing it, and all that. So yeah, anything Wakanda, I'm down for it. Movie to number 2, Fantastic Four. A lot of this is Disney Marvel, huh? Yeah, I just realized that. Oh well. We haven't had a Fantastic Four in a while. I don't count that one. My Fantastic Four was the other one. That one that apparently sucks, but I saw it as a kid and I think it rules. I'm curious to see what place in the MCU do they take. Are they going to be prominent features in the MCU? Or are they going to be players in the Avenger War stuff? Where are we going? What are villains going to interject? We know Robert Downey is Doctor Doom. Is he going to be in this movie? Which I'm not too crazy about Doctor Doom. I feel like we all shat our pants because it was Robert Downey, and then it took everybody like a minute to be like, oh wait, he's going to play the thing. This whole list is basically curiosity because I'm really, really curious where we go with this Fantastic Four movie. And finally, my most anticipated movie of 2025. As I was compiling this list, this became a shock to me because I'm not really a huge fan of this character to begin with. I find him to be crazy boring, but it's more about what this movie can mean for a whole universe moving forward, and that is Superman. They showed us so much in this teaser trailer. Like, there's a lot going on in these 30 seconds. Like, the doggy is a big deal. All the other characters that were introduced that you see in the background for a split second. There's a lot going on. I trust James Gunn. I adore the Guardians of the Galaxy series. Anything he's produced in a while has been very good. The way he fixed the Suicide Squad was great. Peacemaker is amazing. So because of who's behind it, I have a ton of expectations for this movie. I'm expecting it to be very, very good. It's Superman. You're one of your biggest guys, man. You can't screw this one up. For as much as the previous regime screwed up the whole Justice League, they did not screw up Superman, right? Man of Steel is a very good movie. I feel like you already kind of screwed up by casting Timothée Henry Cavill. But let's see how he does. Let's see how he performs. Let's give him a chance. He has to have the chops to carry a whole franchise. Superman is the guy. As much as he's not my guy, he's the guy. If you see a poster of the Justice League, who's in the middle? Fucking Superman. I hope every movie that comes out in 2025 does good, because we're investing the most precious thing we have to go see these things. That is time. So hopefully this whole video wasn't a waste of your time, because I want to know your list down in the comments down below. Give me your top 5 worst, top 5 best, and your most anticipated down in the comments. I hope you anticipated way more content from this very channel, because that is what I'm going to try to deliver to you this upcoming 2025. We just hit a milestone. We just got to 1,000 subscribers. I don't think you guys understand how long it's been since we started this channel. It started with One Direction. The format started being one way. That's why there's so many videos, because it started as a podcast. Life got in the way, and I just decided to keep going with it. I'm going to keep trying to deliver a video every single week, hopefully getting better with your help down in the comments, and hopefully adding another 0 to the subscriber count by the end of 2025. But I can only do that with your help. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Best of health, best wishes, success, all the good juju you could possibly have. Here you go. Here it is. And remember to always and forever, you do.